Welcome. This is the Scarlet and Rage podcast. I am Michael, the voice of reason. This is my co-host Jay, the voice of rage, and we are coming to you tonight with I believe, going to be a good episode. Had discussed a little bit of what's going on in the nation on the front end, and then on the back end, we're going to take a look at the Buckeyes matchup against Washington out in Seattle, which Rage is going to be at. You'll have to forgive me tonight. I am not used to speaking into the computer. I'm used to speaking into this microphone. I don't know. One of those nights we could not get it going, so the sound quality might not be quite as good on my end. But if you would, hit that like and subscribe button and hit the bell so that you'll know every time we are going live. And also, as the show goes on, I will be putting up the Scarlet and Rage message board. I have been on there in the last couple of days discussing a few topics. I haven't been in a sports mood as of late. And so I've discussed some other things on there. I've gone on to the political side. So we encourage you take a look, see if there's something that piques your interest. It's wide open. You can start whatever topics you want as long as it is on the appropriate board. And we'll put that information in the chat for you in just a moment. But thank you guys for joining. And that's our kind of the introductory there, Jay. We got it done in a minute and a half this time. I think it was 2 minutes last time, so we're sharpening that up.
Just need to mention the Facebook and X page, which, I feel like you're carrying our X page, man. I applaud you.
I've been active on the X page. that is for sure. We will put the X page in there as well and the Facebook. So if you're on those platforms, please follow us. Starting to get a few people on X. We want to put stuff, we want to start putting some more stuff out there, but we would like to know that some of you are on that forum, some of you that watch on this forum on a regular basis. If you're over there, let us know, because we want to start putting, some things out on X or interacting on X, and maybe even having some content streamed on X at some point. Who knows? But anyhow, Jay, how are you doing?
I just got over a stomach virus of some kind, but other than that, I'm okay. Man, it was nasty. I felt like I was dying there for a second. But we had that episode. It's interesting, Michael, how you go into the weekend and, you think about maybe the show, and I'm like, well, we don't really have much to say on this week's show. Ohio State didn't play. But then things just start happening in the world. Things come to light, whether it's in the news, whether it's in the sporting world, things happen. And then it's okay, well, I guess we have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. Yeah. Right. So with that being said, Michael, I was about to go off on an unhinged rant last week, but I feel like you kind of reeled me in. But I feel like you were holding back from me in the audience last week. But you've come, sir, across some interesting thoughts, theories, and evidence, should I say. So I would like to leave the floor to you and just give an explanation on how and why you came to those conclusions. But I want to leave the floor to you on really what is the biggest, I would say the biggest thing in our nation, catastrophic, one of the worst things that happened in our country since 9/11. So I'm going to leave the floor to you. Is your microphone working now?
It is. It's up and operational now, so I feel much better about things. I'm glad that this is going. I was feeling very naked, Jay. I didn't feel.
I see. I could tell it was starting to bother you.
Yeah.
Just something else is bothering you, and it's captured all of your attention. So, Michael, I'm going to leave the floor to you, and you explain to me, and you explain to the audience what you kind of told me on the phone earlier, and I was like, hey, tell it on the show. So I'm leaving it to you, sir.
Yeah. Well, I'll be quick and concise about it. But, last week, I shared, and we had no idea how things were going to unfold at that time, no clue. But I just shared, I had some skepticism about this 21-year-old kid. It just seemed a little too convenient, a little too tidy that he left, a gun back and this, that, and the other. And so the big kicker, though, Jay, getting to the bottom line of it. I guess we can start at least with the shooter a little bit. I'll give a little background on that, and then we'll get into the big, the meat and potatoes of it. But if we're to accept that the big celebration that was done today at State Farm Arena, if that was for Charlie Kirk, laying him to rest. Or I don't know if he was laid to rest today or if he's already been laid to rest. I don't know how that is, but
I didn't really know what was that? Just to honor him earlier today? Is that was what it was, right? It wasn't a funeral.
Well, but they kept saying, they kept referring to it kind of as a funeral. At least they did on some occasions. One individual said that they thought they were gonna, get a funeral and look at what we got here. We've got a revival. It was a lot of revivalistic type language that they were using. And so, yeah. Anyhow, that whole event today was for Charlie Kirk. And if we're to feel good about any of that and believe that the justice has been done, then, we need to feel good about the information that we've been presented. And the shooter that we have, if we're to believe that he did it, then we have to, accept that he got onto the roof unseen, carrying a big gun that shot 30-06 ammunition, which is a very big cartridge, very powerful cartridge. And he got onto the roof, took the shot, got off of the roof. There's videotape of him coming off of the roof. It's been available on X. The videos are starting to fade on X. So if you want to see them, you better go now because they're starting to disappear.
Eerie.
Yeah. And so the shooter comes off of the roof. There is no gun visible. The camera's very grainy, but there is no gun visible. He does have a backpack. And the backpack, as he sets it down, appears to be pretty loose. It doesn't appear that there's a large broken down gun on the inside of it. However, let's just say there is. Let's say he did get up to the roof, disassemble his gun in lightning speed, because from the time the shot was fired until the time that we see him coming off of the roof wasn't that long. So he would have had to disassemble that gun very quickly, put it in his bag. But without the details of all that, let's just assume that's true. Let's just assume that he did all of those things. He disassembled his gun. He got it into his bag. He's over. He's coming off the roof. Now, boom, he's gone. We see him run off. He's accomplished a lot. He's evaded everybody. He's off the premise. He's out of sight at least, and he's evaded all authorities. So big victory for this guy. So what does he do? We know the gun could only have been in his backpack because he didn't have it in his hands. It wasn't stuffed down his pants like people were saying, because he was running relatively uninhibited. If you stuffed a gun that large in your pants, number one, he was wearing very tight jeans from the photos that were released to us. So there's no way you're going to stick a big gun down in your pants like that. That's absurd. It could only be in the backpack. So what he did is he gets to the woods, and he reassembles his gun, throws it in the woods in a towel with a couple of bullets with some insignias on them where he was, writing some nasty hate messages. I don't know. That doesn't sound likely to me. Is it impossible? It's not impossible. Nothing's impossible per se. Well, there are some things that are impossible, and we'll get to those. But that's not totally impossible. But is it highly, highly, highly unlikely? It's highly unlikely. And we're not even getting into how hard the shot was or not. I mean, all of those factors are also add to the complexity of it. And you hear different things on the internet. Some former military guys are saying this is a very difficult shot. Some are saying it's not a hard shot. Don't make it a big deal. The bottom line is, think about yourself. If you went out to the gun range and shot a rifle for, we'll say, a couple of weeks, do you feel comfortable you could infiltrate a a situation, get a vantage point from the roof, and take a shot and take out a very specific target, I mean, I would feel zero confidence in myself in
No,
accomplishing
not at
that
all.
mission. Yeah, zero. And so, but let's just assume he did all that. Then he gets off the roof and he puts the gun back together and he leaves it for the FBI. It's unlikely. Then he drives back home. He's gotten away. He has gotten away. He drives back home, and decides he's going to text his gay lover, and he's going to like fully confess, like in explicit detail, very specifically, and you know, just very conveniently. And the text, I would encourage you guys to Google it. You know, the shooter's text, Google it and read these texts. They've been released. I mean, it reads just like you asked ChatGPT how to, you know, construct some kind of contrived conversation. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And yeah, so there's that. And he also goes and confesses to his father. Why? He just got away with it. So maybe the guilt has just overtaken him at this point. I don't know. But he goes and confesses to his father. And his father somehow directs him to a youth pastor. So he's going to go have a chat with a youth pastor, a guy who just committed murder.
Right.
Is going to go talk to a youth pastor, like talk out your problems. And the youth pastor evidently had some connection to a U.S. Marshal and then turned him into the U.S. Marshals. I mean, just a wild story in and of itself. But Jay, wrapping this up, let's get to kind of the final thing in this. And that is the fact that many were pointing out online that to get hit with a 30-06 rifle, it would have turned out differently than what everybody witnessed. It's just a very powerful rifle. It can take down elk and moose. And there's little chance that hitting a human being with it, even center mass, there's very little chance that it's not going to come out the back, you know, let alone, you know, a thinner part of the body. And so to address that, that big problem that the round that they're saying killed him would have had a drastically different result than what we witnessed, as gruesome as that was, that what we would have seen would be quite a bit worse than that. And so I don't want to be graphic with it, but that's what they were describing.
It would have exploded his head, is right.
It would have at least blown a big hole. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, both sides. And, you know, to explain this, I just want to read what Turning Point USA released. This isn't my statement. Okay, Jay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you told me about, you sent me that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is coming from a close friend of Charlie Kirk and a current high-ranking, you know, individual at the Turning Point USA organization. He was also the executive producer of the Charlie Kirk show for all of those years. His name's Andrew Colvett. And he tweeted this last night, or he X'd it, whatever you want to call it. I want to address some of the discussion about the lack of exit wound with Charlie. I'm usually not interested in delving in to most of this kind of online chatter, and I apologize. This is somewhat graphic, but in this case, the fact that there wasn't an exit wound is probably another miracle, and I want people to know. I just spoke with the surgeon who worked on Charlie in the hospital. He said the bullet absolutely should have gone through, which is very, very normal for a high-powered, high-velocity round. I've seen wounds from this caliber many times. This is the surgeon saying that. I've seen wounds from this caliber many times. I mean, that's a bizarre statement anyway, that a ER doc in the surgery center has seen 30-06 wounds many times. I mean,
I just find it odd he's telling this to this person, not to like a family member.
Right. Certainly. Fair point. But at any rate, let's continue. I've seen many wounds from this. I've seen wounds from this caliber many times. and they always just go through everything. This would have taken down a moose or two. This would have taken a moose or two down, an elk, etc. But it didn't go through. Charlie's body stopped it. I mentioned to his doctor that there were dozens of staff, students, and special guests standing directly behind Charlie on the other side of the tent, and he replied, "It was an absolute miracle that someone else didn't get killed." His bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like a man of steel. It should have just gone right through, but it didn't. In the end, the coroner did find the bullet just beneath the skin. Even in death, Charlie managed to save the lives of those around him. Remarkable, miraculous. So there you have it, Jay. That explains the conundrum that many people have had online with the 30-6 narrative. It was a miracle. Charlie's the surgeon said that Charlie's body, it's like he's the man of steel. That's a quote. And Fox News had the man of steel up today, saying that, and had Charlie throwing the hats and, man of steel. Thoughts,
A lot of polls and questions to be asked and answered.
Mm-hmm.
And, Michael, you made the point is I don't think we're ever going to get them. I don't know that we're ever going to know the truth. And to be honest with you, it kind of reminds me of like the Epstein stuff, man. We never got to the bottom of that. Go look at that press conference when they had it, when they came to the conclusion that there was nothing there. Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, they were lying. Like, I spoke to someone very close to me who's done numerous like interrogations in rooms and is like an expert at reading people. And you don't have to be an expert at reading it. I could look at it myself and I'm no expert. I could tell that they were maybe not Kash, but Dan especially, super uncomfortable. It was really hard to watch. And it was like, okay, what are you not telling us?
I think Kash was a little uncomfortable. That's my opinion. He didn't come across natural, or he didn't come across like he was really feeling loose or good about things. It was kind of a stiff, very controlled type of vibe that he was giving off.
Yeah. So I see in the comments like, well, why do we think Charlie was really killed? I do believe that Charlie was making an influence on the young people across the nation and getting them to think a little bit out loud. The question is, who would want to kill him and why? Number one, was it Mossad? Was it the CIA? I guess like Charlie was pretty pro-Israel and then he wasn't pro-Israel anymore. Some people are kind of hinting at that. In the comments here, I said it last week. Why have we not heard more about the Butler shooter? Like, Butler, Pennsylvania. Like, it's just like, that's just kind of come and gone. It's like, oh yeah, our president just got shot at. He almost died, but hey, it's okay. A couple weeks later, let's just move on. And I know you made the point that that's just the way we are, the way the world operates now. But at the same time, that's still really, 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 really fucked up beyond all belief. Well, and it's amazing how these things just get moved past. And now it's, we're mourning for Charlie and stuff right. But are we really doing right by him by not getting to the truth of the matter?
Yeah. And I want to say this, Jay, and I'm kind of, my thoughts are kind of concluded on the Charlie deal. Again, like I said, like I ended on it last week, I'm content to know I'm never going to know. I've been interested in digging up what I can up to this point, but like, it's over now. He's buried. And if the federal government isn't worried about it, then I'm really not either, I don't guess. But,
there is one thing I want to add.
Well, this is what I was going to add is because of those things, like you said, the Butler shooting, we haven't heard anything else about it. It's just kind of like come and gone, like, no big deal. That's very strange. And I am a person of faith. Now, there was a lot of, I saw a little bit of the thing today. A lot of people have been talking about faith this week and this, that, and the other. And I don't know how many people are genuine about this or not. Okay. I mean, faith is big business because it means lots of votes. So anytime it's political people that are, extolling their faith, I'm always a little bit skeptical because it's lots of votes. I mean, there's lots of votes out there as far as Christians in America, and somebody's got to get them. That's between them and the Lord. If they profess Jesus Christ, that's between them and him as to what their relationship really is with him. I don't care. But what I'm saying is I genuinely do. I'm a genuine person of faith. I don't just say it. I don't wear it on my sleeve. I don't go around talking to everybody about it. I don't tell everybody what a good Christian I am before I try to do business with them. I don't want to, I don't want to do that. Like if I get to know somebody, they'll know I'm a Christian. I don't need to go tell everybody. And so that being said, with the way things have gone and we don't find anything out about the president's assassination and all of the crazy things with this, I now understand the viewpoint. I don't believe it. I want to be clear, but I understand the viewpoint of those that think we might be living in a simulation, because sometimes it really does, it really does feel like surely all of this can't really be happening. It just boom, 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 like one thing after the other.
It is an absolute scary world, man. And I don't believe anything anymore. I don't believe anything anymore. Dude, this goes back to like 9/11. And as time goes on, I think 9/11 was an inside job, man. I remember people talking about the planes and stuff hitting, and the explosion wasn't enough to melt like those steel beams and stuff. And the more you look into it, they're not. So what was inside of those buildings that caused them to collapse? Was something already there? Or it was, I don't know. Like, who knows?
Look, the former Republican.
Go ahead.
The former Republican minority leader, who was the minority leader in Congress, not a low-ranking member of the Republican Party, a high-ranking member of the Republican Party, came out and has been blowing the whistle for a while. Nobody really listens to him, and says he does not say 9/11 was an inside job. He doesn't go that far. But what he says is that we had knowledge of it, that he definitively knew that we had knowledge of a potential attack. And he said how it happened, I don't know. So that's his story. He's accountable for that story. I don't know if it's true or not. But again, not getting into it on this, we'll get to football here in a minute. 9/11 has a lot of crazy questions around it as well. It really does.
Well, I was listening to, somebody else, and they, I don't even know who is actually responsible. Somebody, whoever that is, they use major events such as 9/11, this, COVID, as ways to strengthen the government and strengthen their control over us.
Yeah, that's
like think about what came out of 9/11, the Patriot Act, which was an infringement on our rights after a while. Think about what happened with COVID, and to lock up in your homes, wear masks, wear all of this for a virus, for all we know, freaking was created only a couple hours away from me in Raleigh, North Carolina, in the Triad over there. And that, a man-made virus, and they used that, unleashed it on the world. When they were in cohorts with China and released that in the world, and to use that as a form of control. And now it didn't go all the way through and work, but that's what they were possibly attempting to do. And now with this, we don't know what's going to happen with this. Is there going to be more security and more supervision over the common man? I don't know, but it's looking like it's heading that way. And by the way, dude, it looks like your girlfriend is a true freedom fighter over here. The last thing I was going to point out is, Michael, I find it odd. If you're really in mourning, like if my wife died, I would not be talking to anybody for at least a week. I would be dead. If one of my wife or kids died, I would be dead in the mind and the soul and the heart, everything, right? But she's talking the next day and making speeches, and Caroline saying, it just seems a little like, what? Who thinks of this the day after your spouse dies, right? It just seems too odd. It's just odd.
We could discuss the oddities about this thing for 3 hours. Literally, we could. I mean, there's so much odd about it. that it kind of boggles the mind. And I know a lot of people probably were not paying attention, but look, I have an ADD brain. When something really big is going on and like my sensors go up and I'm like, ooh, this is really big, it makes me zone in. And because of my ADD brain, the curse of it is I can be all over the place. The, I guess, gift of it is sometimes I can really zone into things and I can process through information really quickly. And yeah, it's a lot of information, and it's this kind of a similar playbook to COVID, that it's so much information thrown out in so many different disconnected directions that most people just go, whatever. Yeah, cool. Great.
Oh my gosh, Caroline, if you could highlight Caroline's comment, second from the bottom. The name Erica is of Scandinavian Germanic origin, meaning eternal ruler or ever powerful. Charlie from the name Charles means free man, and Kirk from Scotland means church. Interesting. Wow.
All that is 100% true, and that can be, you can just do a Google search and you can just Google the meanings of those names and you'll find that all of that is absolutely 100% true. Does it mean anything? No, not necessarily, no, but it is kind of interesting.
But I will say that it's just so odd, her reactions to all. I'm not saying that she knew anything. I'm just saying that her reaction is not something. Again, if people deal with grief in all different ways, but I will say that it is really odd that you would be at the public spotlight. And you said it yourself that they have essentially given her total reign over Turning Point USA and just let her just do it with it as is. Yeah. I think you said that earlier.
And that thing takes in hundreds of millions of dollars.
And it had a lot of outreach to young people. So,
absolutely.
Matt Wildenthaler, thank you for being here, man. South Florida Buck. It looks like the South Florida Buck is here. Thank you, sir. But Michael, man, we went down a dark, deep rabbit hole, and I'm sure our audience wasn't ready for it.
Well, you know what? It is what it is. Those are all facts that were given. Everybody's got to make their own decision, but hopefully we can get back to the nation.
The facts aren't mathing here. The facts are not mathing. The math isn't mathing here.
No, they're not.
The fact.
No, they're not.
It's like it doesn't make sense. It's not sequenced right. And you're right. The way they portray it is the common person is too stupid enough or too ignorant enough to actually look into it, and they take advantage of all of those people. But again, our audience and us, we are not the common folk. We are the Scarlet and fucking Rage, and we don't fuck around here. So if something seems off, we're going to point it out. So be that as it may, Michael, do we want to talk a little college football?
Yes, I'm begging for a world once again where we can just watch football and not think about anything else.
Dude, I wish that were true, man. But
Jay, I mean, it's COVID, it's January 6th, it's a crazy 2020 election, it's vaccines going out, and everybody's got to take it. You're going to get fired if you don't take the vaccine. Now it's the vaccine doesn't work. Now it's, oh God, the vaccine is actually really hurting some people. And then it's the Trump's everything he went through with the felonies and the lawsuits and everything. And then another wild election, and then what else has it been? Oh, the bombings.
You got it, man. You're absolutely right.
The bombings and things in New Orleans, and then now the Charlie Kirk thing. It's like one thing after the other. The assassination attempt
behind the bombings in New Orleans. Is that what you're telling me?
No. I'm just saying that that all of these things have happened like over the last, just 4 or 5 years. It's incredible.
Oh, I know, man.
The amount of things that happen
in the world.
And it's been a different world. And I just want the world back, Jay, where we can just totally just like watch football and think everything's good in America.
Well, thankfully we do have college football. We have Big Ten football and all of that. And with that being said, it's amazing how we are literally like doing a complete 180. We go from the deepest, darkest regions of like political conversation to talking about Big Ten football or whatever. Michael, yes. I mean, like off topic, man. Usually we would have done a little bit more into around college football since Ohio State didn't play, but any game stick out to you over the weekend, man? I have like some random thoughts before we just preview Washington.
See, Jay, I'm already getting happier. So it's amazing. We're doing the right thing. We made the right turn. We had the right turning point there.
Turning point, baby.
That's right. I don't know if I would say stood out to me, but I watched Florida and who did Florida play? Florida and Miami. And then I also watched some of the Notre Dame game. Who else did I watch this weekend? Indiana, Illinois. Boy, good grief. I mean, I watched it until it was like obvious it was going to be a blowout. But yeah, those are the games that I watched. I did not watch any other game this weekend. I watched, big parts of those three.
Yeah, I mean, just
Four.
off topic, a couple games that stood out. I will say, I'm still ashamed of Michigan. I watched Auburn, Oklahoma. Auburn's speed and physicality was astounding compared to Michigan's defense. I said before they needed to hit Mateer and not miss him when they got a hold of him. And, Michigan ended up doing all that. Auburn, for the most part, hit him and really made life hell for him. It would have been nice for, looking back on it, for Michigan to open it up offensively, plus have their best tight end in that game and Rod Moore playing. I think they could have won. But again, Auburn just looked more physically impressive from a defensive standpoint than Michigan. It's just like Oklahoma should have beat Michigan worse than they did, whereas like Auburn was like right there with Oklahoma down to the wire. So that kind of stood out to me. What else stood out to me? Illinois was overrated. I don't know that I've ever said it on this show, but you go back and watch them a couple weeks ago against Duke, and I was like, yeesh. Duke kind of outplayed them in that game. I know Illinois won the game by the letter of the law because they got 5 turnovers, but, Illinois and Duke were pretty even teams, and then I was like, well, Illinois is overrated. There's no way they're a top 10 team. Now, Duke's offense was good, and I watched them against the NC State Wolfpack, and, their offense is still good. I thought NC State should have beat Duke over the weekend. It was kind of a similar game to Illinois and Duke, but the reverse this time for Duke. Duke kind of got outplayed, but got a few turnovers and won. So, Illinois was a fraud. Indiana is for real. They just once again, man, they blow out a top 10 team at home, like the second consecutive year, and just look like world beaters. So it'll be interesting to see when Indiana plays a team like Oregon and Penn State this year, teams of similar talent to them. And then, Michael, I got a good look at Washington. Do we just want to go right into the Washington preview, or do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that's pretty much it. I think Oklahoma took another step towards, what I thought they were going to be. I said, I think they're a legitimate top 10 team. I was certainly not ready to say they were a legitimate top 5 team, but I said, I think they're a legitimate top 10-ish type team. And I think it's kind of starting to look like maybe they are. They're not legit yet. Time will tell. Auburn has been notorious in recent years for having rankings early in the season, and end up not being great. However, it's obvious that they played Oklahoma much better than Michigan did. Yeah. So that is a good observation. Michigan is getting better. This is a better Michigan team. I watched some of the highlights from the Nebraska game, didn't watch any of the game while it was live. I think Nebraska's okay. I don't think they're a terrible football team. They're obviously far, far better than the Division I AA team they played the week before. And a win is a win when you've got a true freshman quarterback. And so they're moving on. And I do think they are improving as the weeks go by.
Yeah, maybe. Nebraska kind of sucks. I did see them week 1 against Cincinnati. They did not impress me at all. They just look a little slow. Dylan Raiola is not very good. Matt Rule, I think, is a good coach, though. But, yeah, that is a team just without talent on it. Michigan is just more talented than them. And, but I will say I don't really have much else to add. Miami's defense is for real. If Ohio State doesn't have the best defense in the country, Miami does. Not much else to be said there because Notre Dame's offense turned out to look really good, and Miami pretty much shut them down. But let's move on to Washington, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So Ohio State, as we all know, travels to the Pacific Northwest next week. Our first trip there since 2007, when the likes of like Brian Hartline and Brian Robisky and Todd Beckman and Beanie Wells, if you remember all of them, they were leading the Buckeyes. And we beat Washington, I believe, if I could look back, it was like 37-17. Now, that Washington was led by Jake Locker, former future Titans quarterback at the time, and former Titans quarterback now. But that was such a different time with like Jim Tressel teams. That was literally the year after we got blown out by Florida. Went out there to Pacific Northwest. But I will say this, man. I've been looking more into Husky Stadium. Man, Michael, that place again. I haven't been there yet. Tentatively, it looks like, as long as everything works out here, we are traveling Thursday morning to Seattle, and I will get my firsthand look at it. But man, that place, I was looking into quotes by Steve Sarkisian, but I think he said it was the greatest setting in college football. Do you believe that? I don't know if you've had a chance to look around at like other stadiums, but he says
I know it's probably beautiful in many ways, but I don't know. I've never taken a look at it and had those kind of thoughts.
I know that it's like right there on that lake, and they have this thing called sailgating, and you can actually like ride a boat and sailgate instead of sailgate be on the water if you have, know somebody who has a boat or actually like live out there and whatever. I don't know.
Well,
if you're a multimillionaire, you can rent a boat.
Yeah, I guess that's cool. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I want to go to a game, I don't want to be out on a boat.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, I'm not during the game, of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like before the game.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, about the game a little bit. Strength on strength game. But Michael, I know you haven't had a chance to look much into Washington, have you?
I have not. I'm pulling up a picture, Jay. It is pretty, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more like, I'm not saying that the stadiums are necessarily the same architecturally, but I think it's going to be more like Oregon than anywhere else that the Buckeyes.
I think it's more beautiful than Oregon with the.
Well, I just mean it probably is. I just mean in the sense of it's going to be a little more compact than the Buckeyes are used to. It's going to be a smaller stadium the Buckeyes are used to. Things feel closer on you in those old Pac-12 stadiums in Eugene and Washington. And so, that's an adjustment as well. That's something that those guys out there are used to. It's what they play in all the time. And for the Buckeyes, it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. So it's another little disadvantage.
But my question to you, maybe not you as much, Michael, but to our audience is Ohio State on upset alert here? And I say this for no reason. I watched Washington last night, and so just a little background here. Washington has
Jay. I think we should do a mild upset alert because of some of the reasons you're about to say, and because if they went out there and played the way they did against Ohio, this could be a very, very interesting game. And so, yes, I do think it's a minor upset alert. I think they're going to have to play well.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go all in and preview Washington, and I'm just going to take the floor for a little bit. So Washington has won 22 straight home games. And you're right, Michael. We did not look great versus Ohio. And now we have to go up to the Pacific Northwest, which historically is an extremely hard place for Big Ten teams to play at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even when we've won there, Ohio State, we haven't looked good. Now, we looked good in 2007, but Washington was a 500 team in 2007. I remember that team from Washington. They could play with everyone, but they couldn't really beat anyone. They were like that kind of team. But like in 2013, we went out to California and played the Cal Golden Bears and beat them. I don't know. That was that year when, what's his name? The quarterback. He was the former quarterback for the Rams, but then Stafford took over, and then he went to the Lions. What's his name?
I don't know.
Jared Goff.
Oh, Jared
Goff lit us up, man. Jared Goff lit us up like bad. He lit up. But again, we won. We just outscored them. And then we lost to Oregon last year. But I will say this, Michael, from what I understand, we're going to have a lot of fans there. I think we're going to have like 30% of the crowd. It's going to look like we have a decent amount because we're going to be in scarlet and gray and Washington is purple. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic to look around the stadium and observe the crowd ratio. Now, Washington beat up, albeit on their rival, Washington State. But Washington State lost 59-10 to North Texas. So Washington, Ohio State hasn't played, from what we've seen of Texas now, our schedule hasn't been like complete world beaters, but it's been tough. We played the MAC, former MAC champions. We played let's just say for the sake of argument, Texas is a top 10 team, and we played a top 10 Texas team. But this, Michael, is the first real test for the defense. Washington may be the best offense we play all season. And actually, you know what? That's wrong. I think they are the best offense we are going to play all season outside of the playoffs. And they are the best offense in the Big Ten, I believe. They have actually scored on 17 straight drives since the end of the Colorado State game. DeMond Williams is a small, he's small. I think he's like 5'10", 190. But I'm saying this, he is Kyler Murray 2.0. He may not be the same scrambler at that level, but, he has similar speed and a great arm. He's got a great deep ball. And by the way, he is much better than John Mateer. He is everything that, how the media has portrayed John Mateer and just been sucking him off. That's who DeMond Williams is. Like the what is the word I'm looking for?
So Jay,
like
as big of a stickler as you are on height and quarterbacks, like you don't even like a 6'2" quarterback. You don't even like a 6'3" quarterback. You like a 6'4" quarterback.
Right.
So you would rather have the 5'10" guy than the 6'1" guy?
Yes. I mean, I would rather have in college. Yes, for sure. Okay. In the NFL, it's harder to get away with. Yeah. I guess I should have been more specific there. In the NFL, you don't really want those, wait, what is this? Okay, I just saw that come in.
So I dislike the near sainthood treatment he's getting. Dadoy, I think we're with you.
Okay, well, I will say this, man, but it's kind of like the it's the thought of like what John Mateer is supposed to be. That is what DeMond Williams is. Like, he is actually what John Mateer is portrayed to be. Jonah Coleman is one of the best backs in the country. He's their, 5'9", 230-pound, like big back, which essentially is a fullback in today's game. He is built like a fullback, but moves like a running back. He's actually a very good receiver. I believe he was the second leading receiver for them yesterday. Denzel Boston is a lengthy, long receiver. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3". He's got a lot of speed. Now, I don't know really what they have as their second and third options. They didn't really use them against Washington State. On defense, they are a fast defense, but they are not good against the run. They're not very good against the run. Mm-hmm. They were able to stop Washington State's run game yesterday, but Washington State literally has the worst run offense in the NCAA, and I'm not kidding. They actually showed that stat illustration on the TV yesterday. Yeah. But here's where it's kind of interesting. Now, their linebackers aren't very big, but you know what is like super big, Michael? Super big and long, and may be the biggest in the country?
Who?
Is their secondary.
Yeah, you were telling me there were 6'4" in the secondary?
They have 2 6'4" corners. Two of them. Not 6'1", not 6'2", not even one of them. 2 of them.
That's crazy.
2 6'4" corners.
That's crazy because 6'2" is a very rare tall corner. 6'3" corner is a unicorn. 6'4" corner, boy, that's a very rare thing, and they have 2 of these guys.
2 of them. So Takario Davis is he did not play against Washington State. Now, Washington State was able to get Washington on some deep throws yesterday, and probably a lot of that had to do with Takario Davis didn't play. He is going to play this Saturday, so I wouldn't really look into that too much. He's an NFL guy. Their other guy is probably going to be an NFL guy too. It would have, one of them is going to follow Jeremiah Smith all over the field. I would assume is Takario. They play a lot of man coverage. Now, usually that is a death sentence against Ohio State, but considering we have 2 legit receivers this year and not 3, that's a little dicey and dangerous for us, man. I mean, Washington has got players in that back 4. And then they have a safety who's 6'2", so they have real size and length in the secondary. Size and length Ohio State hasn't seen particularly ever. Like, I don't know that I've ever seen a secondary that big.
You don't see that hardly ever.
No, I
two
I
6'4s
don't.
and a 6'3 in the secondary. I mean, that's
The
extremely
biggest
rare.
secondary I can think of is when the Seahawks had like Richard Sherman and those guys and the Legion of Boom. Like, they had a really big and long secondary in those Legion of Boom days, if I remember correctly. But Richard Sherman was what, 6'3"?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So again, that's like that size of secondary. Now, our secondary, Michael, just to say it, with Lorenzo Styles probably not playing this week. I mean, I think he has an injury. If he's not injured, he's probably on the bench. But Devin Sanchez is 6'3", Igbinosun is 6'2". That is actually really big corners. Like, those are really big corners there to have Devin Sanchez and Davison Igbinosun. But again, it's not as big as what Washington is going to throw at us.
Yeah, absolutely. So that will be interesting to see. I'll be looking forward to that matchup. I still feel good about our receivers, but little NFL talk here. What went wrong with the Bengals? Boy. The Bengals are just in a lot of trouble. They're a terrible franchise. I have totally lost all faith in the Bengals. I don't entertain success for the Bengals. I went through many years, Jay, where I kind of divorced myself from the Bengals.
Dude, I find this so interesting because you are always down so sad on the Reds and you hate the Reds. And then I asked you straight up, who makes you more upset? And you're like, the Bengals, no doubt.
Yeah, because the Bengals squander it more. The Reds don't really have a chance. They're not playing on a fair playing field necessarily with the New Yorks and the Bostons and the Los Angeleses and the Chicagos, even the Philadelphias. But the Bengals are playing on a completely level playing field, and they find a way to just royally screw things up continually. And so, yeah, that's why I'm.
Well, Joe Burrow didn't play today, and actually, is he out for the year?
Yeah, Burrow's out for the year.
What happened to him?
Turf toe.
Turf toe.
Yeah, the thing that you're usually out for about 3 to 5 weeks. Yeah, that.
Do you think he just said, "Fuck it, I don't want to play"?
Well, he has to have surgery. He's one of the rare 1% of NFL players that have turf toe and have to have it surgically repaired.
He is kind of injury prone. Have you ever thought about that?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Because he's missed half of his time in the NFL at this point.
Yeah.
He's basically missed 3 of his 5 years. 3 of his 6 years.
That is, I will say this, I think Andrew, Slip and Skippy is saying Joe Burrow is Andrew Luck 2.0. I actually think Andrew Luck was a better quarterback than Burrow.
This is his 5th year, right? So he's missed about 2.5, or a good 2.5 out of his 5 years.
6. This is year 6.
This is his 6. Okay,
2020 was his rookie year.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so he's missed about 3 out of 6 by the time you add it all up.
Man, dude, year 6. It feels like 2019, like the semifinals against Clemson was just yesterday. Mm-hmm. And here we are, no, Joe Burrow's in his 6th year in the league, and they had beaten Clemson in that title game. And the world has just gone upside down in these 6 years, man. My
Little
God.
did we know that was the last year of normalcy.
Yeah. Holy shit, man. You want to talk about coincidences, talking about Joe Burrow and thinking back to 2019. What immediately happened after 2019? Go back to Conspiracy Corner now, COVID, and now all these assassinations, and what the fuck is going on, man?
Somebody needs to write a song, party like it's 2019, because that was the last, that was the apocalypse came after that. It's been apocalyptic ever since.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it's changing.
No. So back to Washington, man. They are the best offense we are going to play all year. Their offense, we know what our defense looked like when we played a great offense last year in Oregon in our first game in the, Pacific Northwest last year. Mm-hmm. We didn't look very good. Now, we didn't get completely shredded, but we gave it 32 points. Just, not a great performance, not a terrible performance. It was pretty bad. And we know, again, we hated Jim Knowles. I don't think those same problems exist under Matt Patricia, but at the same time, we had evidence with Knowles that he sucked as a DC. We don't really have enough evidence with Matt Patricia to say he's good or bad. We've played a bad Texas offense. We've played Grambling State, which doesn't count. And we've played Ohio U, which also kind of doesn't count either. So we don't really know what we have with the defense. Now, the offense, we can, we have a little bit more comfort into saying like we kind of know what we have because we've played a great defense. I think if our defense isn't the best, then it's either Texas's or Miami's. So there you go. We've played something that it's like, a really, 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 elite level. We have not done that on the reverse side. So this is the first time. Like Washington legitimately has a top 5 offense in the country. They really do. They have NFL players at every level on their offense, outside of maybe offensive line. I haven't studied their offensive line enough. Again, it's the flashy players that stand out. Denzel Boston, Jonah Coleman, Damond Williams. Damond Williams is the best quarterback in the Big Ten. He's better than Jada Mayava from USC. He is him. He is him, which, by the way, I'm going to watch that movie this week. So if anyone has seen that movie, please do not give me spoilers. I'm going to stream it on like Tuesday. So
you're singing high praises for
Hell
Washington.
Yeah, I watched them. I paid very close attention to Washington last night. And now I will say this. Again, it's a rivalry. Mm-hmm. You can't really put a lot of stock into rivalries. But they passed the look test on offense. And we have to go there. That is a 6-hour flight from Columbus. It's not easy. Maybe it's not 6 hours, but it's going to be 6 hours for me.
Yeah, it's probably not too much less than that. But
probably not.
I tell you, I think that the Washington fan base, I would love to go out there and beat them on their home field because they were so ungracious coming into the Big Ten. They came in immediately talking smack on the message boards. And they came in talking
how and why.
Exactly. And that's what I said to them. And I'm not usually mean about stuff like that, but I just like every single one of them. I was like, you guys need to understand your place. All right. Like you're not very good. You're not elite because they were putting themselves saying that they were elite, that they were in Ohio State's category. And I was like, you are nowhere close to Ohio State's category. And they're not. And if they went out there and beat them, they're still not close to Ohio State's category. It would be their Super Bowl. It would be the greatest thing ever for them. And Ohio State does not need to let that happen. Ryan Day has to have this team ready to go out there and show them, just like Michigan did a couple of years ago, that Big Ten football is a little more physical than they can take, and put it to them and put the foot on the gas and beat this team. I'm not saying you're going to go out there and blow them out, but go out there and be at your A game.
I think Ohio State's favored by 9.5 or 10 points right now.
That's a lot.
Is it though? I don't know.
I mean, I could easily see this game.
I would have said like 13-14 would have been a lot.
I could easily see this game being, 24 to 16 or something like that, or 24 to 17. I mean, I could easily see it going that way.
Okay, kind of lower scoring.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that that's how I think it's going to go. I'm just saying at night on the road, if they couldn't get going with their offense early and their defense was playing pretty well, yeah, I could see it being more low scoring. Well, it's not at night.
Just drove down the street.
It's at 3:30, right?
So I live at, huh?
It's not at night.
Yeah, man. It's actually at a weird time out there in Seattle. So it's 3:30 Eastern time, 12:30 out there. So I'm praying that it's going to be nice and sunny and not rainy. I got pretty good seats too, by the way. I'll make sure. Hey, everybody. Question. Do you want me to live stream from inside of the stadium before kickoff?
We'll wait for those answers.
Yeah, we'll wait for those answers. But while we're waiting for those answers, there's one thing I wanted to say. Ever since we had that conversation, the first 30 minutes of the show, like I live at the bottom of a cul-de-sac. People are driving down, and I wonder if there's like a sniper just trying to shoot me through my window.
Yeah.
Dude, hey, I would bring ratings to our page, but you'd be a lone wolf at that point. You'd have to carry the show. I'd be dead on live air.
Well, that shows that the assassinations had its effect. That we're thinking twice about speaking our minds. But yeah, I feel you. There has been some it's been kind of creepy. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, very creepy, man.
Mhm.
Very eerie. Too many things. Too many things. Yeah, just don't add up there. Michael, do you have a prediction on the game after the stuff I gave you? I feel like you kind of already gave away your answer, but
Well,
yeah.
Bo Jackson has to be number 1 running back. We agree, Slip and Skippy. No disagreements on that.
Yeah,
He
no,
he
he's
needs
got
to
to be
be.
number 1. CJ Donaldson has got to be number 2.
Yep.
James Peoples, you're just not an Ohio State level quarter or running back. But the thing is, it's like everyone keeps pointing at Bo Jackson, but they're not paying attention to wide receiver number 3, and that's what really bothers me. Brandon Ennis is not wide receiver number 3. He's not an Ohio State receiver. He should be wide receiver number 5. Like, give those reps to Mylan Graham, who is like so much better than he is. I mean, again, we don't have a lot of sample size, but in the little bit that I've seen, he actually provides more burst and speed. So there.
Yeah, he definitely has more big playmaking ability.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, hell, even Bryson Rogers, I feel like would be a better option because Bryson Rogers would at least provide some length, and he actually looked kind of quick, like a little faster than I thought at 6'2".
Yeah,
and we know, Quincy Porter is an X. He's never going to play in the slot. So, but I think Bryson Rogers could. Mylan Graham absolutely can. So, yeah, Michael, do you want to give your prediction?
Yeah, and so my prediction is going to be a little bit different than my hypothetical that I set up. So not a lot different, but what I'm going to go with is I'm going to go with Ohio State 27 and Washington 13.
You think we're going to hold them to 13 points?
I do.
Okay. So with my prediction, I can't imagine Damon Williams. So Damon Williams ended up being the leading rusher for Washington against Washington State. They use him a lot on a lot of designed runs. Like, he doesn't really run to scramble like Kyler Murray did. Like, he is Kyler Murray, but Kyler Murray, I don't remember him being used in designed runs at Oklahoma. He was more like drop back, just create something out of nothing type of thing. And I just can't imagine Damon Williams is going to have many designed runs because I swear, in the history of Ohio State, Michael, that I've seen, QBs that run a lot have historically been really beat up or injured by our defenses. And this is the fastest back seven maybe in our history. Like, if they use him at 5'11", 190 pounds, I understand he's really fast and he's going to get some of it. But I just think Ohio State could just absolutely murder this fucking guy. Like, Parker Navarro from Ohio, I mean, he was kind of like, again, he's not Damon Williams. Ohio is not Washington. Let me make that clear. But the way they use him is very similar to how, like, Damon Williams is used at Washington. And he just refused to run against Ohio State. He had that one run around the corner for like 6-7 yards. And then like he basically slid for like a first down and got down after 2 yards. And then he never ran again. He just did not want any of that trouble. Now, I will say this also. Washington State had so many chances to finish some negative plays. They were, getting some pressure on him in the backfield. And while Ohio State is not a very good pass rushing team with 3 and 4 guys, we are much better and more physical than Washington State. And because of that, I believe Washington is going to score points. Again, they have scored 22 drives in a row, or 18 drives in a row. I'm sorry, 22 home games in a row. They're going to score points. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at us, but they're not going to score at the clip that they are used to. And I think Ohio State will be able to score on them pretty well and at a little better clip. So give me Ohio State 38, Washington 27. That means we beat the spread. We cover the spread.
I'll take it. I'll take either of our outcomes. I might even like your outcome a little better because it means our offense is pumping pretty good.
Washington's defense is not very good. Now, they passed the look test in the secondary, but again, Washington State was bombs away on them. Maybe it had something to do with one of their backup corners and Washington State was targeting him. I don't know. But again, The final score is 59-24, but don't let that fool you. The game was closer than that score. Washington State, and I believe it was 31-24 heading into the fourth quarter. And then Washington kind of was a dick at the end. Jed Fish was kind of being dickish at the end and rubbed it in with some late scores, bombs away, and kept his starters in until like 2 minutes to go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
James W. with 38-20 there. I don't see any other predictions. Slip and Skippy. Surely you got a prediction. Jay, you got anything else?
I don't have much else, man. Just looking forward to getting up there. It's going to be a fun time. I just hope we win. I don't want to go all the way out there and fucking lose. That's for sure. That would just like ruin the trip. And my wife is like, "Oh, I don't want to go if you're gonna be upset because of Ohio State."
You got a lot. Ryan Day has got a lot of pressure on him because the well-being of your household depends on how he has these guys ready to play.
Yeah, it kind of does, man. Yeah, come on, Ryan. Don't let me down.
Yeah. He's got you. I think he's got you. We're going to do it. We'll be good.
Fingers crossed, man. You have to remember, Ohio, I did say this on the phone to you earlier, man. We are defending national champions. And as great as offense as Washington is, we've played some really great offenses in the past. And, we kind of get lit up in those games. But at the same time, you know what? We don't have Jim Knowles anymore. And it's not like Washington is not something we haven't seen before. Our defense is something they really haven't seen before, though.
Yeah.
That's the key. And they're on a roll, but we're kind of on a roll as a program right now a little bit. Especially, our culture completely changed post-Michigan last year, thanks to our show. Ryan watched our show and turned it around.
Yeah.
Turning point, Ryan Day.
Absolutely. That's right. This is still a continuation of Turning Point Ryan Day. So I'm going with a big win, and you're going to be there to see it. So, guys, thank you for watching. We will obviously, report on what we saw on this game and give our opinions. You guys are welcome to give your opinions. And we'll be back with you next week. Or are we doing a midweek, Jay? We doing a midweek?
No, I don't think so.
No
Not
midweek.
this time.
All right.
I'm going to be traveling, but stay fucking safe, people. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Stay safe out there.
Stay safe. All right. Talk to you guys later. See you next week. Bye.